how good was Julio Jones in his prime?
No, but when I was in high school, they called me Waffle House.
Waffle House? You know what? I'm not going to use that.
Know why?
Why'd they call you Waffle House?
Because I'm always open.
Ooh, nice. You know what? I may have to reconsider on Waffle House.
Since the 2011 drafts, where he was the 6th pick, Julio Jones has stacked up yards while turning Atlanta into a highlight factory. He's been so dominant that some of football's legends are calling him the best.
Julio Jones is the best wide receiver in the NFL. If I'm starting a team and you tell me I can pick one wide receiver, that's who I'm picking. Not only because of his size, not only because he's 6'3", 220, not because he runs a 4.3, not because he runs precise routes, not because he can play every wide receiver position, but because he's not a diva wide receiver. He comes from Alabama. He's a regular football player. He loves to practice. He loves the game. So the only way is the sheer numbers.
But how good was Julio Jones in his prime? From his battles with injuries, through his iconic partnership with Matt Ryan, the playoff struggles, and that 2021 trade exit? What made Julio Jones' career so unique? To answer these questions, let's go back to 2011 when people were wondering how a rookie could be worth 5 future draft picks. Number 10. Iconic rookie numbers. On 2011's NFL Draft Night, the Falcons were stuck at 26 when GM Thomas Dimitroff got a call from Julio's Alabama coach, Nick Saban. After getting another perspective on Julio Jones' college tape, GM Thomas had to call Cleveland for the trade. 5 picks, including 2 firsts, a second, and 2 fourths, to move up to 6 from 26. They did all that just to get him. The pick also made Julio Jones the earliest wide receiver ever taken in the Falcons' history. As expected, the fans wondered if this kid from Alabama was worth it. Well, they didn't have to wait long. On November 6th, 2011 against the Indianapolis Colts, he caught 3 passes. Sounds simple, right? Nah, those 3 grabs went for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 50-yarder and an 80-yard sprint. He would go on to finish that year with 959 yards and 8 scores. And get this, he did it while missing 3 games with a banged-up hand. And you know the craziest part? He hit 500 yards faster than any Falcons rookie ever. He did it in 8 games flat. But at number 9 was the day Jones destroyed the Bucs while setting multiple NFL records that are still unbroken. Number 9, Tampa Bay takeover. November 26th, 2017 was a Sunday, and Jameis Winston must have forgotten to pray because throughout their game that night, they were helpless against Julio. By halftime, Jones had 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. The first one was a 51-yard beauty where he toasted the secondary, while the second one was a 4-yard play that just shows Julio's strength. Tampa tried doubling him, shading safeties, nothing worked. By the end of the game, he had recorded 12 catches, 253 yards, leading to a 34-20 Falcons win. It wasn't a game, it was a massacre. But here's the crazy part. That night, Julio hit 9,000 career yards faster than anyone ever, including Jerry Rice. It was also his 3rd 250-yard game, and nobody in the NFL history has more. At number 8 is a record-breaking night that happened on a Monday. Number 8, the Monday Night Madness. For the most part, Julio Jones was a walking highlight reel, but he took things to a whole new level on December 8th, 2014. Facing off against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, Julio snagged 1 touchdown and 11 catches for a ridiculous 259 yards. That included a 79-yard bomb. That's not all. As much as 121 of Julio's 259 yards that day came after the catch, folks. Can you believe that? He was stiff-arming linebackers, spinning past corners, and dragging tacklers around like kids on a playground. Unfortunately, the Falcons ended up losing the game 43-37, but that didn't stop Julio from dominating the league. In fact, that game was just one of 7 100-yard performances he dropped in 2014, and he finished that season with 1,593 yards, all the while playing through a foot that still had screws in it from a 2013 injury. Damn. But at number 7 was the day Julio Jones proved that even as a running back, he was just as unstoppable. Number 7, the reverse rewind. Somebody forgot to tell Julio Jones that he was a receiver in the Falcons game against the Saints on September 26th, 2016. So when he got the ball on a reverse, he went on a wild run. 21 yards later, he was juking Saints defenders left and right and making them just look silly. He ended the game with 7 catches for 139 yards, leading the Falcons to a 45-32 victory that night. That game showcased prime Julio, and over his career, he racked up 491 rushing yards on 67 carries. Now, that's a slick 7.3 yards a pop. But then again, this wasn't new for Julio, and he was known for great plays, such as those from his days at Foley. Next up is when Julio showed how clutch he is. Number 6, the Philly Dagger. Julio Jones knows how to take over games when it matters most, and he showed it in a September 14, 2015 meeting between the Eagles and the Falcons. The Falcons were down 2017 with just a minute and 39 left. Then Julio steps up, snags a 4-yard touchdown pass from Matt Ryan, and powers through 2 defenders to seal a 26-24 win. In another play, Julio had 3 Eagles defenders swarming him, yet Matt still airs it out to him. And what does Julio do? He leaps, tips the ball to himself mid-air like he's playing hot potato, and hauls in a 44-yard stunner. He later finished the game with 9 catches for 141 yards and 2 back-breaking touchdowns. That game was more than just a win for Atlanta, as it kicked off a 5-0 start for the team, setting the tone for a season where Julio was out for blood. Number 5, Julio's 2015. 2015 Julio Jones just hit different. That was the year he racked up 9 games with 100-plus yards, finishing with a record of 1,871. To put that in perspective, that's more 100-yard days than most receivers dream of in their entire career. And he did it in one season. Only Calvin Johnson's 1,964 in 2012 tops that. Then he tied Marvin Harrison for the most receptions in a single NFL season with 136 catches. Julio also recorded 5 or more catches in all 16 games of 2015, tying the NFL record for the longest streak of such games in a season. And as icing on the cake, he set the record for fastest player to hit 600 career receptions in just 75 games that year. That year, Julio made the first team All-Pro. He got 49 of 50 votes from the media panel, a near unanimous recognition of his dominance. But 2 years later, he almost got the ultimate recognition, a Super Bowl ring. He was so close that Patriots Edelman refused to believe what had happened after the final whistle.
It's not over. It's not over. Get the f off the field. Hey! Is it over? Yes. They got to review it. They reviewed it. Did they? Yeah. Oh! Gotta believe. Oh, man. Gotta believe.
Number 4, the Super Bowl stunner. The Super Bowl ring wasn't the only thing that Julio Jones lost in 2017. While jet skiing, he lost a $150,000 diamond earring in Lake Lanier. Reports said that he even hired divers to try and retrieve it, but like his Super Bowl dreams, it was gone. But how did he lose the Super Bowl? They had the lead for most of the game, but they took it even further during the second half of the game. Matt Ryan sent the ball to the sideline, then Julio leaped between 2 Pats defenders to snag a 27-yard toe-tap catch. How he was able to keep both feet in bounds while falling, we'll never know. But that play was supposed to seal the win. Even the analysts said so.
For sure, it was game over when the Falcons scored to make it 28-3 with 8:31 left in the third quarter. 28-3? Were you not game over at that point?
Yeah, I really did. I thought that was the dagger.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I thought that was the dagger. And in talking to all the guys, because obviously we were the historically black college Pro Football Hall of Famers were honored, and everybody in there thought it was over. Jackie Slater was also in there. His son Matthew plays for the Patriots, and he was just like, I did not see this coming. I did not see this happening.
In that game, Julio faced double teams on 70% of his routes and still made plays that had Bill Belichick sweating. He ended that night with 4 catches for 87 yards. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The Falcons choked, and Tom Brady brought the Patriots back for an overtime win. But at number 3 is the day Waffle House shut down the Georgia Dome. Number 3, the 300-yard massacre. On October 2nd, 2016, against the Panthers, Julio Jones straight up broke the game. That day, Julio hauled in 12 catches for a mind-blowing 300 yards. 300 yards in a single game should not be possible. And the only human with more is the legendary Flipper Anderson, who did the unthinkable in 1989. Julio averaged 25 yards a catch, 25 against a Panthers defense that was still hot from a Super Bowl run the year before. If Matt was slinging it, Julio Jones was catching it, and by halftime, he racked up 186 yards. He ended the game with a touchdown as well as a 75-yard bolt, which he caught at the 25, shook the corner before outrunning the safety. That day, he faced double teams, triple teams. Nothing mattered because he was unstoppable. 12 of 15 targets, 300 yards, and a 48-33 Falcons win. It was a statement game, but what's even crazier is the fact that that wasn't the only time Julio Jones had a game like that. Julio got 3 250-yard games in his career, and he's the only NFL player with such a record. Number 2, the Atlanta exit. The Waffle House had just closed as Julio Jones announced his retirement on his IG.
Today I'm announcing my retirement.
But before the league lost Julio Jones to nature, the Falcons felt a similar pain in 2021 when Jones asked to be traded. You see, for about a decade, Jones was Atlanta's golden boy, torching defenses, hauling in passes, and piling up yards. In the 2020 season, Julio recorded 771 yards and 3 touchdowns in just 9 games. All the while, he was dealing with a hamstring injury. But in 2021, the Falcons were stumbling. They ended the previous year with a 4-12 record, and Julio had seen enough. So while on a live call with Shannon Sharp, he set his mind.
Uncle, what's going on, bro?
Man, nothing much. About to go meet up with my brother. What's happening with you?
Man, look, you want to go to the Cowboys, Julio, or you want to stay in Atlanta?
Oh, man, nah, I'm out of there, man.
You
He's
out of
out. He's out of there.
there? Are you going to? Ideally, where would you like to go?
Right now, I want to win.
Okay.
Dallas.
Well, don't go to Dallas. If you go, you ain't winning in Dallas, Julio.
You already.
So after a lot of back and forth, the Falcons traded him to the Titans for a 2022 second pick and a 2023 fourth-round pick. But get this, Julio walked away with 12,896 yards in a Falcons uniform, which is a franchise record. That's 848 catches, 63 trips to the end zone, and a decade of defenders having nightmares. But during that decade, there was a 5-year period when Julio Jones was worse than a nightmare. Number 1, the prime peak. From 2014 to 2018, Julio was the undisputed king of receivers. How did he do it? He recorded at least 1,400 yards throughout those years. Not even Jerry Rice or Randy Moss could manage that. And to think, he did it all with those injuries and double teams, just wild. But let's break it down a bit. 2014, he dropped 1,593 yards. In 2015, he registered a league-leading 1,871, still one of the top 5 seasons ever. In 2016, he had 1,409, which was the lowest. Then he had 1,444 and 1,677 in 2017 and 2018, respectively. Now that's 7,995 yards in 5 years, averaging 95.6 yards a game, highest in NFL history. Folks, nobody's touching that. He's sitting at 13,703 career yards, 5th all-time as of 2023. And those 5 seasons, they're the heart of it. The Falcons hadn't taken a wide receiver in the first round since 1991. Julio was their big bet, and boy did it pay off. Even with injuries, he never dropped below 800 receiving yards in any season where he played at least 14 games. Talk about toughness. His connection with Matt Ryan, they hold the Falcons' record for the most QBWR touchdown hookups. And let's not forget the fact that Julio was silently pouring support into Atlanta's youth programs too. But while people naturally think Calvin Johnson was a better player, the numbers don't necessarily say that. You see, Calvin Johnson registered a 731.11, 619.83 career receiving line over 135 contests and 85.4 yards per game. But Julio recorded an 848.12, 896.60 receiving line over the same number of games, which translates to an NFL record 95.5 yards per game. But do you think Julio Jones is the alpha wide receiver? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, you should watch The Truth About Ben Roethlisberger's Career next.